Hey guys, welcome back to Slimy. This is the first time that I'm doing one of these sitting down in the chair things in a while. I know you can probably tell by the fact that I've got stuff hung up there now. I mean, bravo to Carson. If y'all want me to make a video on all that for some strange reason, let me know. But for now, we're talking about the top 5 teams that will most likely make the Super Bowl. And of course, these are from, 5 is going to be the least likely out of these 5. Normally, I do top 5s, and I just do like, oh, here are 5 teams who are likely to make the Super Bowl. No, these are top 5. And yes, I know my hair is weird, but I'm getting a haircut soon, and so it'll actually not be like a bowl cut. But nobody cares about that. Let's start off. Got my notes as per usual. We got our 5 teams, and I mean, some of them might surprise you. I mean, of course, you probably know who the number 1 team is. I mean, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you probably could sit there and go through and by the way, these are not power rankings, alright? There's a huge difference between power rankings and predictions. Like, power rankings, like, I could go through and I could make a power rankings video tomorrow, and then I could also on the same day make a video on the teams that I think will, like, all 32 teams ranked on how likely they'll make the Super Bowl. 2 completely different lists. Power rankings are how they are right now. How well are they right now? And then, predictions are like, how will they be in, 17 weeks? But we're not talking about that. So the number 5 team is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. And I just think that they are an outstanding team. Look at that. Of course, we've got Russell Wilson. He's not really carried them, but he has been an amazing part. He could carry any team. One of the best quarterbacks in the league. He's very mobile. He's just a great quarterback in general, not to mention. I mean, DK Metcalf, a great rookie last year. They got him in the 2nd round. That was an amazing pick. Also they got Tyler Lockett on there. They've got 2 great weapons on them. Not to mention a lot. So they've got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett on the wide receiver core, and then if he wants to throw it short, wants to get a short little pass, he's got Greg Olsen in there. They got him from Carolina. Well, I guess they got him off of free agency. Whoever cares. All right, so that off and you got Chris Carson in there. His last name is my first name, so obviously I like him. And also his stats are great. That was kind of a joke I said. I don't want you to actually think that's the only reason that I'm mentioning him in this video. He actually has this whole offense is one of the best in the league. And then on their defense, their secondary was great last year. And then they went ahead. They get Quentin Dunbar, get him traded over from Washington. Boom, that's a great trade. He looked great last year, 4 receptions on a team that was absolutely disgusting last year. That's bravo. That's amazing. Go get Quandre Diggs from the Lions. Another great steal. Before that, they got they replaced Bradley McDougald, who was he was a pretty good player. They replaced him with Jamal Adams, who was one of the best safeties in the league, cornerbacks, whatever the heck he is. Their secondary has been completely 3 out of their 4 players in their secondary are great and were added in this offseason. That's going to take their offense, again, to a whole nother level. This team just got much better. They won the offseason, and honestly, they're the 5th team that I would help to make the Super Bowl. Also, if you're watching this far, you probably don't hate me. Would you like me to do more power rankings? I've done 2, and the second one was technically called Final Power Rankings, but, that was back when Darius Geis was still in the game. That was back when Cam Newton was not on the Patriots. A lot of stuff has changed. Jamal Adams was still on the Jets. Do you want me to go back and redo that? And also, that was based on my prior rankings. What I had, I'll talk about it at the end of the video. But the 4th most likely team, in my opinion, to make the Super Bowl and I just want to drop this are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Dang it, I didn't make it big as I thought and I wanted it to. Anyways, so look, they've got Tom Brady, who was great last year on the Patriots when he had no weapons, moving over to the Buccaneers, who give him Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski now to go and play with. And that is going to make him even better, and that is definitely going to make this team even better. And then you look at, they've got Ronald Jones in that running back position, and he's pretty. I mean, he's a solid running back. They don't have a bad running back room, but they just have a pretty average. This area on my hair is making me mad. I don't like it. Keep looking and I can't. Yeah, you don't care. Um, I mean, they added Rob Gronkowski, who I know he hasn't been playing. He hasn't played in the past year. Obviously, he didn't expect to at all. He took a job at Fox. He was on Fox for a bit talking about stuff. So for all we know, he didn't keep. We won't be. Obviously, he's not going to play as well as he did in years prior. In my opinion, that is just a fact. If he does somehow come back and play like he did last year, I will be absolutely amazed. In their defense, you got the Dominican Sue, Vita Vea on that front seven. You've got Antoine Winfield. You've got Jordan Whitehead on that secondary. Their defense definitely is not as completely like astonishing as their offense is right now, but it is still a force to be reckoned with. It is still a pretty good defense. Moving on to the third best team to make the Super Bowl. Now, these top three, I know if you've been watching me, you definitely know these three. You don't know what order they are in though. So, my hair. So the number, I look like a vampire. The number 3 team is the Chiefs, and if you haven't been watching me, this might come as a surprise. But I mean, they're the top 3. I think they're a very, very, very good team. I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes, who's a great young quarterback. Not to mention, he's got Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins on there to throw to, Travis Kelce. Also, he's got great weapons, and then they added Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round last year. That was an amazing pickup, so he can hand the ball off pretty easily too. So this offense is astonishing. And then you got Rashad Breeland, Tyrann Mathieu on that secondary. This whole team is amazing, and that's why they won the Super Bowl last year. And I think that they have a big chance of making it again this year. But I just think there are 2 teams that have a better chance of making it. If you give me a second, I'll talk about it. Jeez. So the number 2 team, just one team above this one, we have the New Orleans Saints. That was a pretty good noise it made. All right, so the Saints, you got Drew Brees, who he seems to just get better and better with every year. I mean, he's getting older, but you wouldn't be able to tell by all of the look at his stats, you wouldn't think that it's an older guy. All right, and then you've also he's got Alvin Kamara to hand off to. He's got Michael Thomas, who in my opinion is the best wide receiver in the league. He has all kinds of talent to work with on that offense, and then you look at their defense. You've got Cameron Jordan, Malcolm Brown, Marcus Davenport, and Demario Davis on that front seven. That is top tier right there. That is going to put pressure on the quarterback, stop the run. Amazing. And then their secondary. Quarterbacks of course are going to be pressured into throwing. You can't really run the ball against these guys, and also they're going to be pressured while throwing, so they have to have some crappy second. No, Janoris Jenkins, Malcolm Jenkins, Marshawn Lattimore on that secondary. It's going to be impossible to score points against them. And then you look at this amazing offense. It's going to be impossible to stop them from scoring. This is why they crush teams. This is why they are constantly making the playoffs, and they are always getting screwed by teams who are so much worse than them. No offense to the Vikings. They're a great team. They're probably number 8 or 9 on this. But they are nowhere near the absolute god tier that the Saints are. Speaking of that, there is one team that is better than them, and of course you already know, I'm not even going to do the drop thing. It's the Baltimore Ravens. They have the best player in the league with Lamar Jackson. Not only is he by far the best quarterback, but he also can run. The stats that he has rushing are good. These are stats that a running back would be considered great with. He got over 1,000 rushing yards last year. This is considered to be a great milestone. People are like, oh man, he got 1,000 rushing yards last year. He's a quarterback. And not to mention, he's passing the guys like Hollywood Brown and Willie Snead, who are great. They're great wide receivers, but they're not. He doesn't even have. They're not absolutely amazing. And he hands off to Mark Ingram, who's a pretty good running back. So he has a very, very talented team to work with. It's better than a lot of teams, but also it's not as good as the team around him is not as good as the Saints. It's the things that Lamar Jackson does, and he takes his team, which is just like, I mean, if we were doing power rankings of teams except for the quarterback, they would be like, 13th. Takes them all the way up to probably number 1, 2, 3. And then you look at this defense. Oh, not to mention he's got Mark Andrews to throw to too, so that bumps him up a bit. But still, they do have a very talented team around them, and then they have him himself, who is the best player in the league. That's the reason he got the MVP last year. Who knows how he'll play this year? Maybe it's just a little fluke. I'm rooting for this guy. I don't know why, but Patrick Mahomes, I just don't like him very much. He gets on my nerves. I really don't like the Chiefs. I have no reason not to like them. I just don't like him. Patrick Mahomes, he seems like a cocky guy who thinks he will win every game. Lamar Jackson, I like him. He seems humble. He had a chip on his shoulder last year, and I feel like he's going to eventually get a Super Bowl ring, and I might be rooting for him, unless he's playing against a team I like. And also, you look at that defense, you've got Brandon Williams, Clyde Campbell, Matthew Judon on that front seven. Again, another team that's going to put huge pressure on the quarterback, and is going to be, the front seven is you get that front seven going, and that puts pressure on the quarterback. I mean, the front seven, linebackers, of course, if you don't know, it's linebackers and linemen defensively. That is might be the most important area in football that is like never covered. And I know I never, ever, very, very rarely talk about the offensive line. It's mainly because there's no stats laying around for them. But that is the most vital positions for a team, and no one ever talks about it. I think my roof might be leaking. But, I mean, you look at this, you put pressure on the quarterback. That is your whole run defense right there. So you stop the run, force them to throw, but also they're getting a lot of pressure put on them. Not to mention they got Marlon Humphreys, Earl Thomas, Marcus Peters on that secondary. Again, this defense, it's going to be impossible for you to score on them. And I think I underplayed their offense, but their offense is absolutely insane right now. So this team, I mean, I think honestly the Super Bowl should be Ravens v Saints. That would be the two best teams from each conference battling it out. That is a game I don't even know who would win. Because while I do have the Ravens on top in this one, for all I know, I don't know. They're so evenly matched. You know what, guys? Thank you so much for watching. Actually, if you've noticed, I'm done doing my predictions. I put a poll up on Twitter, what should I do now that I'm done with my daily predictions. One person has voted he wants me to do a daily news show. I'll consider doing that, but let me know in the comments what you want. Let me know if you want me to look at my Funko Pops for a whole video, because I am not posting every day. Maybe because I'm not gonna post tomorrow, but I will post the next day. Maybe in one of those off days, I post like a quick 2-minute video about my Funko Pops. I don't know. Nobody would watch that, but hey, I would enjoy doing it. So it's probably at some point gonna come out. I've got some cool videos planned. I probably will do another. I'll probably do a completely updated and finished, perfect, updated, power rankings. Because the last one, I did one before I even took any deep dives into teams. I sat there and I did a whole prediction thing. And then I was like, hey, these prediction things, I have fun doing them. They get views. I changed my whole, channel into doing football. And I did my first power rankings before I had gone in. And I did a deep dive into each position, and then I went and I just recently did a deep dive into each team. You saw that with most of the predictions. And now, would you like me to do that again? Would you like me to make another power rankings video? Oh, by the way, the second one I did, I don't really know if that counts though, because you know how this is for the OG guys. I used to do this thing where I went through at every single position from wide receiver to backup quarterback rushing stats. I did a whole video ranking those, and then I went through and I averaged out each team's placement, and I ranked them based on that, and I made a power rankings video based on that. Do you guys want me to do an updated actual power rankings video? Let me know. No one's going to be watching this. If you're watching this, as always, say apricot, and if you want, I will give you a shout out, probably in the Funko Pop video. Thank you so much. I honestly am very happy no one watches my whole videos. My analytics are going like this, but I know there's a few people who watch it. I'm gonna start shouting some people out. I tell you, there are these two people that always watch me, and they always comment on every single video basically, and one of them posts all the time, and he knows who he is if he's talking, if he sees this. But I'm gonna plan on shouting you out, alright? Thank you so much for watching.